Hi, I'm Alois Rosario from Ping Skills. Today we're going to talk to you about our basic ready position. In table tennis, to start off with, it's really important to get your body into the right position. Your basic position is crucial. To start off with, we can't stand there with our feet together. We haven't got any balance. If I lean over a little bit this way, I'm going to fall over, and the same that way. Similarly, if I try and lean forward, I'm going to fall over. So, how do we combat that? Firstly, let's get our feet much wider so that now we have some stability going sideways. If we bend our knees, we also develop a little bit of stability forwards and backwards, and more stability sideways. So now we're starting to look like we can play table tennis. Knees bent, feet nice and wide apart, and your body nice and compact. The next thing is to think about where we position ourselves at the table. A lot of beginners make the mistake of positioning themselves right in the middle of the table. But if we do that, we can reach all the way over there with our forehand, but haven't got very good coverage on our backhand side. So we need to move ourselves across a little bit to the backhand corner. As a guide, just put your bat on the middle line. Okay? That will get you into a good position across the table. Once we're in a good lateral position, we need to think about how close to the table we need to be. If you're too close to the table, if they serve the ball deep, you're going to be in trouble. If you're too far away from the table, if they serve the ball short, again, you're going to struggle to get into position. So, as a guide, we've got our bat just able to touch the table when we're in our basic ready position. Once we're in our basic ready position, we can cover the whole table with one step. If the ball is short to our forehand corner, just one step and we can reach it. Wide to the forehand, wide to the backhand, short to the backhand. The whole table now is reachable with just one step. When receiving serve, we also need to consider where my opponent is serving from. If they're serving from the middle of the table, your middle basic ready position is ideal. However, if they are now serving from over wide in their backhand corner, we need to adjust. So, from that backhand corner, they can get the ball quite wide out to my backhand, but it's difficult for them to go wide out to my forehand. So, I can just move a fraction across to my backhand corner. From here, I can cover the wide backhand and I can cover the ball down the line as far wide as they can serve it. If the right-hander serves from wide out in their forehand corner, or if the left-hander is doing their pendulum serve from over in their backhand corner, we need to think about moving a little bit more to my forehand area. From that corner now, they can serve the ball wide to my forehand, but find it difficult to serve it wide out to my backhand. So, rather than being in our central basic position, we're going to move a little bit over to the forehand area to cut off the wider forehand serve, and then still be able to reach the backhand down the line. In the rally, we need to then start to think about where we position ourselves. If the ball has gone way out over in that direction, it's no use being in our middle central position because they've got a better angle out wide to my backhand. Of course, it's even sillier to get way over into your forehand corner. So we need to think about cutting off the angle of the ball. So if the ball is over there, we need to position ourselves in the middle of that area, ready to cut off the angle that they can get. Similarly, if the ball has gone over to the other side of the table, again, it's no use being in the centre in your middle position, because now they can angle the ball out wide to your forehand corner. So let's think about cutting off that angle and being in the centre of where they can play the ball. So we've had a look at your strokes, and strokes are really important to start off with. To link the strokes together though, you need to have good balance and good movement. It's fantastic to have a fantastic forehand topspin, but if they don't put it into the right position for you, then you're always going to be in trouble if your balance and your movement isn't good enough. So let's take a look at your balance, your movement. So to start with, when you're playing table tennis, one of the key elements is your legs. You need to be down low and bending your knees well. So from side on, you can see that my knees are quite bent when I'm playing. So how do we move in table tennis? You have to remember that most of your movement is sideways. In fact, 95% of your movement is sideways. Very rarely do you move in and out in table tennis. So how do we move sideways? Think about a shuffle step to start off with. That's probably the easiest way to start your movement when you're going sideways in table tennis. So just shuffling sideways. To do that, what you need to do is to get back to a balanced position so that you can just push off with both legs. So back to balanced and push off. Balance, push off. Balance, push off. If you try and push off when you're unbalanced, it becomes a very difficult movement. So the key is to get back to a balanced position and then use both your legs to push. Balance and push. Balance and push. With your feet, you need to have them quite wide. So if you're very narrow, to get down to the right position, you need to bend way too much. So get your feet wider apart, okay, and then you will increase your stability and increase your balance when you're playing. If you watch all the best players, okay, they're always in this position when they're playing table tennis. As you start to get better and stronger with your legs, what you can actually do is basically jumping sideways both ways, almost like you've got a steel rod between your knees. So this stays quite still and you're just pushing here and pushing there.
Alright, now we're going to look at the placement of the serve. Now there's good areas and bad areas to serve, and firstly we're going to look at some of the bad areas. Now if you look over here, we're going to place some pieces of paper on the table to show the bad areas. Now the reason that these are bad areas is because if you serve the ball there, it's going to go right into the danger zone or the hitting zone of your opponent, and they're going to get a really good shot against that serve. So this is the point you don't want to serve to. So we know there are good areas and bad areas to serve, and the bad areas are around here and here, and we've demonstrated why, because it's going to go right into your opponent's hitting zone. Now the good areas are deeper here in the corners and here, because then it's really deep and it makes it harder for the opponent to get to. Another good area to serve to also is much shorter, and the reason that's good is because the ball will bounce twice on the table, so your opponent won't be able to get a really big swing on it, and they'll have to play a more passive shot. I hope you've enjoyed these lessons, and if you've got something out of them, then pop over to our website www.pingskills.com and pay for the lessons. You decide how much. Your contribution will go to helping us make some more videos.
Hi, I'm Alois from Ping Skills. Today we're going to show you how to focus on keeping the ball nice and low over the net. Keeping the ball low over the net is critical in table tennis. If you put the ball up higher, it's much easier for your opponent to make an attacking stroke. To help us to focus on how high the ball is going over the net, we've just rigged up this string across the net. To rig this up yourself, you just need a piece of string, 2 sticks, I've just used some plastic sticks here, and some sort of clamp just to clamp them onto the net. So I've just wrapped the string around the top of the post there, and all I do is I put it up next to the net and use the clamp to hold it on. It's easy to alter the height of the string by just pulling the stick down lower.
Using this setup is great for me practicing my serves, because that string line really shows me how high the ball's going over the net. It really focuses my attention on that. So let's see if I can keep the ball nice and low over the net. Now if I get comfortable with the string being that height, I can adjust it. So now I can just pull the stick lower and the string will come down, and I'll do the same on the other side, and then I'll see how my serving goes. Now this looks like much more of a challenge. Let's see how we go. Now hitting the net's fine because that's quite low. Now here is a really difficult level for me to try and get through. The ball can only just fit through. Alright, let's see how we go. This really draws your attention to keeping the ball low over the net. It's great for improving your low short serve.
This setup can also be used to try and keep the short push low over the net. In the rally, the line can be used as a guideline as to how high the ball is going over the net. As you get better, you can lower the string to make it harder.
Keeping the ball low and short in table tennis is a really technical aspect. You need to be able to change the angle very slightly to keep the ball lower or shorter. It becomes a little bit too technical. The easiest way to learn is to have something like this, a string, a target to aim at, and then you start to learn the game more naturally. You will naturally start to alter the angle to keep the ball low. So don't get too caught up in the angles of your bat. Just look at your target and see how you learn. So now it's up to you. Go out, find some string, some sticks and some clamps and start your practice. In this lesson, we're going to show you the forehand block. Hi, I'm Alois Rosero from Ping Skills. There are a few basics we need to go through with the forehand block. The first is with your feet. Because you're blocking, the ball tends to come quite fast. So you need to be in a very square-on position because you're not sure which side the ball's going to come to. So for blocking, have your feet square to the table. The next thing is your starting position with your bat. Make sure it's up nice and high and flat. From there, you have lots of options as to the stroke that you can play. With the forehand block, it's nice and flat and straight, and from there, the stroke is just like a small counter hit. So we're going from here, out and forward, out and forward. Depending on the amount of spin on the ball, will determine the angle of your bat. If there's a lot of spin on the ball, you might need to turn your bat a little bit more forward, or if there's less spin, you could turn your bat back a little bit. When you're blocking, it's really important to be stable. If your head's moving around, it makes it very difficult to track the ball when the ball's moving fast to be able to block it. It's important to keep that head as still as you possibly can. That way, you can track the ball a little bit better and your block becomes a little bit more effective. Now we'll have a look at the forehand chop. This is a backspin stroke used for defence. Here you will see that Jeff is demonstrating the stroke, with the stroke starting up near his right ear and finishing down towards his left knee. It's a lot like a chopping action. You'll also notice that the bat is facing up towards the roof. Okay, so his forehand side is facing up towards the roof. This enables you to get the backspin on the chop. Here you'll notice also that Jeff turns sideways for the chop. In table tennis, as you get more time, you can turn your feet a little bit more. So as this is a stroke that's played from away from the table, you have time to turn your feet sideways to generate the chop. So from side on, you can see that the side on position that Jeff takes for the backspin or the chop. You'll see that his bat starts up at head level, finishes down at knee high. With the chop stroke, you'll notice that when the ball comes faster to Jeff, his stroke will be more vertical because he doesn't need the forward momentum to get the ball over the net. When the ball is coming a little bit slower, Jeff's stroke will come out forward to push the ball over the net more. So this is the vertical stroke off the fast ball and the forward stroke off the slower ball. Okay, so Jeff's going to play some forehands now. Now, the basic things to think about here are his starting position. So let's just have a look at Jeff's starting position with his bat. Okay, nice and flat to the ball, and his follow through or finishing position is just up and to the middle of his body.
Just like that.
That same stroke can be used to hit the ball faster or harder or slower. It just depends on how fast your bat comes through. Okay, so now we're going to just show you the start position and finish position for Jeff. So that's his start and finish. Start and finish. And we'll just get him to hold it there.
There we go.
We'll just get Jeff to hold the position there. You can see that his finish position, okay, is right near the middle of his body. The bat doesn't need to go any further than that. A lot of the time, players tend to swing through way too far with their stroke. Yep, out there. So really not necessary in table tennis.
enjoyed our lessons, then you decide how much you pay for them. Go along to our website, and if you really like them, then make a contribution. Otherwise, they're free. So enjoy.
Have you been wondering how to flick or flip? I'm Alois Rosario from pingskills.com, and we're going to show you how to do the stroke today. The basics of the flick are to make sure that you're hitting the ball in a forward motion. Your bat starts quite flat and comes forward. With the flick, you have to make sure that the contact is nice and flat. That's to generate some pace. If you top spin the ball, you're not going to generate much pace, and the flick's going to be quite slow. So think about making sure you're hitting the ball right at the top of that bounce so you can hit the ball flat. It's almost like a smash. It's like a mini smash. From here, just smashing the ball onto the table. When you're playing the flick, the starting angle of your bat depends on the amount of backspin or topspin that the opponent has given you. If the other person has put a lot of backspin on the ball, you need to start with your bat quite open or with the forehand side facing up. If they put some topspin or side spin on the ball, you can start to come over the ball with your bat. So with the backspin, open your bat up and come forward. With side spin and top spin, you can have your bat flat or over the ball a little bit to come over the ball and hit the ball down onto the table. Your movement for the flick is to move in closer to the table. The way to do this is to put your right foot under the table. That will get you closer to the ball to make your flick. The flick is often used as a return of serve off a short serve. So if they serve with some side spin or top spin, that's your cue that you can flick. You can also flick off a backspin serve, but remember you need to get the angle of your bat quite open so that you can get the ball over the net.
Now we're going to take a look at the forehand push. And again, we're going to look at some basics, and Alice is going to take us through those.
With the forehand push, the things that we need to concentrate on, like all of our other strokes, is the start position and the finish position of your stroke. So you can see for Jeff there, the start position is with his bat tilted a little bit towards the roof. It's next to his body and around hip height or waist height. The finish position for the forehand push is right through and down towards the table, okay, just extending the arm forward. It's important with the forehand push not to use too much of your upper arm. It's essentially a stroke for just your lower arm and your fingers and your wrist. So Jeff's just going to do a few more shots there. So he's going to do the start position to the finish position. Start and finish. Start and finish of the stroke. Okay. Again, as in all of our other strokes, keep the stroke as simple as you can. Jeff's angle of his bat is not changing through the stroke.
Alright, now we're going to look at pushing short with your forehand push. Now this is a really good idea because the ball's going to bounce twice on the table and your opponent's not going to be able to get a big swing at the ball. Now when you're pushing short, you want it to just skim low over the net and bounce twice. So it's going to mean your shot is going to be a lot shorter than when you're doing a longer push. So let's just have a look at a few now. Okay, that's the short push. I hope you've enjoyed these lessons, and if you've got something out of them, then pop over to our website www.pingskills.com and pay for the lessons. You decide how much. Your contribution will go to helping us make some more videos.
With the smash, there's a couple of key features that you need to remember. The first one is to get your bat up nice and high to start off with, and the swing is to come forward and through. Okay? One common mistake is to drag the ball down too much. That's okay if the ball's up a little bit higher, but off the medium height ball, it's best to start quite high and come through nice and flat and forward. The contact, the bat on the ball, needs to be very flat. If you brush the ball on contact, the ball does not go as fast. So with the smash, you want a nice flat and fast contact. And the key element for the smash, for a lot of people when they're starting to learn how to smash, is your feet. The most important thing is, as the ball's going up in the air, you need to get your feet into position straight away. Use that time the ball's in the air to move into position. A lot of players, when they start to smash, is as the ball's up in the air, they'll move their body and try and look where the ball's going and end up in a really bad position. So, as the ball's in the air, make sure you're moving into position, okay, and then you're right to smash. Okay. The feet are a really key feature of smashing. Make sure you get yourself into position right from the start. As soon as you see that ball going up in the air, get your feet moving so that you can make a good, strong smash from a good, balanced position. the table so you can generate power coming forwards. In table tennis, a lot of the time we're very square on. With the smash, you've got time to turn your feet side on. So as the ball's in the air, you've got time to turn, okay, and then get your power coming forwards to generate more speed, more power with your smash. Now we're going to demonstrate the forehand topspin against a backspin ball. The difference between the topspin against backspin compared to the topspin against block is you start lower and finish a little bit higher, and your swing is a bit more vertical. Okay, so you can see now that Jeff's going to start lower with his bat. Okay, his bat disappears behind the table and finishes up in that 90-90 position and coming through a little bit more vertically on the stroke. That helps you to lift the ball over the net. One of the main errors that people make against backspin is that they come through a little bit too low and across their body. Okay, that will mean that the ball will often go into the net. So let's have a look at the correct stroke again. Start low, finish up high. Don't forget that 90-degree position with your upper arm and also the 90-degree position in your armpit. Very important for forehand topspin against backspin.
Enjoyed these lessons, and if you've got something out of them, then pop over to our website www.pinkskills.com and pay for the lessons. You decide how much. Your contribution will go to helping us make some more videos.
So now we're going to talk about the forehand topspin against block. Let's focus on the things that we know we need to do with our strokes, the start position and the finish position. Okay, so you'll see there that Jeff's start position is around hip high or just a little bit lower, and you can see that his bat is right next to him. Okay, and then his finish position is up and above his eyes. If you just look at the position of his arm, it is at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so the upper arm to the lower arm is at a 90-degree angle. Jeff will just turn around and just show us. Okay. That is the finish position for your forehand topspin. Okay. There also is 90-degree angle underneath your arm. So your armpit also forms a 90-degree angle. Okay. That's the finish position for your forehand topspin.
these lessons, and if you've got something out of them, then pop over to our website www.pingskills.com and pay for the lessons. You decide how much. Your contribution will go to helping us make some more videos.
Have you been wondering what to do if your opponent topspins the ball into your backhand? I'm Alois Rosario from pinkskills.com, and today we're going to show you the backhand block. The backhand block is a shorter version of the backhand counter hit. The backhand counter hit, you start here and go all the way through, whereas the backhand block is a shorter stroke. Why is it shorter? There's two main reasons. The first one is that you don't need to generate your own pace because your opponent has put the topspin on the ball for you. The other thing is that you often don't have enough time to play a full stroke. When your opponent is attacking you, you just have time to defend with a shorter stroke. Start with your bat nice and flat and get your bat to come straight through the ball and punch it out to the direction that you want the ball to go. If you take your bat away, you can see the L. The L that's made with your thumb and pointer finger, and that punches straight through the ball. With the backhand block, you're using the pace of the topspin to block the ball back. The stroke isn't very big, you're just pushing the ball forward using the pace of the topspin. You can extend the backhand block into a punch by just generating your own pace now and punching the ball forward with your bat. The starting angle of your bat will change depending on the amount of topspin that the opponent has placed on the ball. The more topspin they put on it, the more you come over the ball, so that the ball can go down on the table. If they have less topspin, you can open your bat up and punch it more forward. So for more topspin, over the ball with your bat. For less topspin, open your bat up. Your feet position for the backhand block is facing towards where you want the ball to go. You need to be very balanced so that you can block the ball consistently. Let's have a look at the backhand chop. Jeff here is going to demonstrate the stroke for the backhand chop. You'll see that Jeff starts with his bat at his left ear and follows through down towards his right knee. His feet position go quite side on to the table. In table tennis, it isn't often that we have enough time to turn side on, but with the backhand chop you do have a bit more time as you're a little bit further away from the table. As Jeff turns side on to the table, he will hit the ball in front of his body when he's side on to the table. When you're defending, it's often best to use a long pimple rubber. The black side of Jeff's bat now is a long pimple rubber. The long pimple gives you better control when you're defending. We'll just have a look at the different effect that the ball has with the different types of rubber. If I topspin the ball to Jeff, you'll see the effect that it has when it hits the red or the inverted pimple. Now, when the topspin hits the long pimple rubber, you'll see the ball goes a lot lower. So the long pimple rubber gives you much better control. The other thing that the long pimple rubber does is it helps to reverse the spin. So the more topspin that I put on the ball, the more backspin that the ball will come back with the long pimple rubber. With the normal rubber, you can get more variations because you're generating your own speed and your own spin. Whereas with the long pimple rubber, you're very reliant on the type of spin that your opponent is giving you. So if they give you a heavy topspin, it's almost certain that your return will have heavy backspin on it. Whereas with the inverted rubber, you can generate your own spin.
Okay, now we're going to look at the backhand, and Alois, would you mind taking us through a few of the main points of how to play the backhand?
Yep, sure. So on the backhand technique, we look at your starting position and your finish position. So let's just have a look at Jeff's starting and finishing position for his backhand. So his start position is nice and flat in front of him, okay? And as you can see the full face of the bat. His finish position is out, up and forward, finishing around shoulder height with his arm fairly straight. Okay. You can see now that the upper part of his hand is facing towards the roof at the end. Okay. So the start position nice and flat, finish position with his forehand side of his bat facing up towards the roof. The third key part of your backhand is how you have your feet. Okay? So you need to be facing towards where you want the ball to go with the table tennis backhand, which is quite different to most other racket sports. Most other racket sports you're turned side on for a backhand. In table tennis you haven't got time to be doing that, and as you can see Jeff is very square on, facing towards where he's hitting the ball. He's also always hitting the ball from in front of his body.
If you've enjoyed our lessons, then you decide how much you pay for them. Go along to our website, and if you really like them, then make a contribution. Otherwise, they're free. So enjoy.
I'm Alois Rosario from pinkskills.com, and we're going to show you the backhand flick today. The backhand flick is done by starting with your bat nice and flat and coming forward and over the ball. The other important issue with the backhand flick is to make sure that you're hitting the ball when it's at the top of the bounce. That will give you the best chance of getting the ball onto the table. The contact for the backhand flick is very flat so that you're generating some speed. If you brush the ball on the contact, you'll generate some topspin but not enough speed. So remember, hit the ball very flat, almost like a smash. If your opponent places a lot of backspin on the ball, all you need to do is start with your bat quite open and then come through the ball. That will lift the backspin over the net. If they put side spin or top spin or no spin, you can start with your bat quite flat or even starting to angle your bat down a fraction to make sure the ball goes down onto the table. Your foot movement for the backhand flick is to move in closer to the ball. Most of the time you'll use your right foot to move in close to the table. However, if the ball goes out wider, you can use your left foot to move in closer to the ball. This will usually be determined by the corner of the table. So if the ball goes out past the corner of the table, use your left foot to move in. If the ball is inside the corner of the table, use your right foot to move in. The backhand flick is used off a short serve very often. So if they serve the ball to you short onto your backhand side, that's the time to implement the backhand flick. If the other person serves with some backspin, remember to open your bat up and come through forward. If they serve with side spin, top spin or no spin, your bat can be quite flat or even down over the ball a little bit.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the backhand push and how to play that stroke, and Alois is going to take us through the main points of that.
So, following on from our other lessons, from the other strokes, the things that we really focus on are the starting position and the finish position of your bat. So you can see that Jeff's starting position is in front of his body, and the bat is tilted up a little bit towards the roof.
It's tilted up.
The finish position is extending your arm down towards the table, okay, and the bat is still facing up towards the roof. You'll notice that the angle of Jeff's bat doesn't change at all. So start position and through to the finish position. Again, keeping it as simple as you possibly can. One of the main reasons for the push is to keep the ball nice and low over the net and to put the ball into a position that's difficult for your opponent and try and make it difficult for them to make the attacking stroke. When you're pushing, you're trying to put a little bit of backspin on the ball. You can vary the amount of backspin by just changing the angle of your bat from very flat where you'll get very little spin to really coming underneath the ball to get a lot more spin. By kicking the ball short over the net, you're stopping the other person from attacking because the ball is going to bounce 2 or 3 times on their side of the table, not allowing them to get a strong swing of the ball.
We hope you've enjoyed these lessons, and if you've got something out of them, then pop over to our website www.pingskills.com and pay for the lessons. You decide how much. Your contribution will go to helping us make some more videos.
Hi, I'm Alois from Ping Skills. Today we're going to show you an advanced method of attacking the short ball with the backhand side spin flick. Today we have Jesse Bricknell, who is a member of the Australian and Oceania junior table tennis team. He's a key exponent of the backhand side spin flick, and he's going to show you today how he plays the stroke. So how do you execute the backhand side spin flick? The first key feature is your starting position. Get the nose of your bat down, pointing towards the table. Start at your right hip. From there, we come up and around. This is what's going to generate the side spin. We finish in the classic backhand topspin position. Another key feature is to make sure that you're getting the ball right near the end of your bat. This will help you to generate speed and spin. By getting your bat starting nice and low and following all the way through, you're getting quite a big stroke at the ball, even though you haven't got much space over the table. So that helps you with your speed and spin. For the right-hander, you can see the right foot coming in closer to the net to make this stroke. So Jesse, you've spent a lot of time training overseas in both Japan and China. What's the one thing that you would say for juniors is the key to table tennis?
I'd have to say using your training hours effectively, as I'd say you don't have enough of them. Notice I'm starting from the hip, which is giving that real side spin. I'm also hitting the ball on the edge of my bat, which gives it the speed and spin required. And I'm finishing in a normal backhand position.
The stroke is a really effective way of returning a short serve or a short push. So when you're playing this stroke, you need to think about how much backspin your opponents put on the ball. If they put a lot of backspin, your stroke needs to be a little bit more vertical so that you lift the ball up over the net. But if there's no spin or a little bit of top spin, then you can come more forward on your stroke so that you're getting the ball going forward. The real advantage of this stroke is that it's an attacking stroke off a short ball, and that means that you're taking the initiative in the rally. And the side spin makes it really awkward for your opponent to return the ball. From this angle, you can really see how the side spin causes the ball to curve and make it difficult for your opponent. So there you have the backhand side spin flick. Don't forget that that's a very advanced technique and it takes a lot of years of practice to master.
It's taken me several years to master it myself.
We're now going to have a look at the backhand topspin against backspin. So Jeff here is demonstrating the swing for the backhand topspin against the backspin. So you'll notice that the bat goes down and starts way below table height and finishes up above his eye level. Okay. That will help you to generate more of a vertical swing to lift the ball up and over the net. You'll notice that Jeff's feet position is quite square on to where he wants the ball to go. So if he's facing towards me here now, okay, that is where he will want the ball to go. If Jeff wants to hit the ball down the line, you'll notice that he'll just turn his position a little bit so that he's facing down the line. Now I'm going to feed Jeff some backspin multi-ball, and let's have a look at how Jeff copes with this. Now I'm going to generate some more backspin to Jeff, and you'll notice that his stroke becomes more vertical, again to lift the ball up over the net. From the side-on position, you'll notice the low start and the high finish. So against the backspin, the stroke becomes quite vertical rather than coming forward. This is, again, to lift the ball over the net. The natural tendency of the backspin is to drag the ball down into the net. So you need to lift the ball up and over by using the vertical brushing stroke. From behind, you can notice Jeff's feet position. It's very square on to where he wants the ball to go. And again, the start position is nice and low, and the finish position high. You can see from the back as well here that Jeff just turns his body a little bit. With the backspin, you do have a little bit more time to be able to turn your shoulders a little bit more. The faster Jeff wants to hit the ball, the more he will turn, and you'll see that he'll start to hit the ball from a little bit outside his left hip. Jeff is going to demonstrate the backhand topspin with the starting position a little bit lower than you would for the backhand counter hit, and the finish position a little bit higher, so up at eye level or even higher. The start position, when you're playing a controlled backhand topspin, can be quite in front of you. Okay? As you start to get a little bit faster with your stroke, you can start to swing from a little bit more outside your body. So for a right-hander, outside your left hip. Okay? That allows you to swing a little bit faster. So the basics for the backhand topspin, starting with your bat quite low, down about table high or even lower, okay? And finishing up above eye level.
hitting some backhand topspins, you can see here where the ball has marked Jeff's bat. That region there is probably the perfect area for you to hit your backhand topspin. Here you can see Jeff swinging through from below the table height and finishing above eye level or above head height. You can see Jeff's feet position is quite square to where you want the ball to go. Okay? This is especially good for the controlled backhand topspin. Later on, if you are trying to hit the ball a lot faster, you can start to turn your feet a little bit more side on, or just turn your waist to generate that power. Our lesson today is about how to deal with that slow, spinny topspin. I'm Alois Rosero from Ping Skills, and with Jeff Plum, we're going to show you how. We're going to cover 3 techniques. The first one is to use soft hands and block the ball. Our second technique is to punch the ball. And our third technique is to counter topspin the ball. The slow spinny topspin often comes after you give your opponent a push or a chop and force them to really lift that ball with a lot of topspin. So to get the ball back down on the table, we need to counteract that topspin. The topspin is going to make the ball fly up high in the air. We need to just turn the bat over and keep your hand and wrist nice and soft. So my bat's just angled over the ball so that it's directing the ball down onto the table rather than up into the air. The softness in your hand acts like a cushion. If your hand is really hard, all the spin is going to be absorbed into the rubber and fly out. So the softness just cushions the spin a little bit and makes the return a little bit softer. When the ball is shorter on the table, you need to make sure that you get a little bit closer to the net so that you're getting to the bounce of the ball. Otherwise, the ball is coming up here and becomes very awkward. The principle on the forehand is very similar to the backhand. So keeping your hand nice and soft and counteracting the amount of spin by turning your bat over the ball slightly. Remember, if you're moving in for the short ball on both the backhand and the forehand, for left-handers, we move our left foot in. For a right-hander, you move your right foot in, for both backhand and forehand. If the ball is coming at a reasonable depth, You just need to be nice and stable with your legs. Our second option is to punch the ball. With the punch, you're generating a little bit more speed. To make the punch, you need to start with your bat up quite high, because from here you're going to come through in a straight line. With the punch, your contact is very flat. You don't want to brush the ball at all, because that just slows down the contact. So we start up high, we come through nice and flat, and we want to keep the ball on the bat a very short amount of time. So just a real fast contact on the ball. We want to also try and contact the ball at a high point. From a high point, we have a direct line onto the table. If you contact the ball low, it's very difficult to get that direct line without going into the net. So from up here, we have a direct line to punch the ball straight down onto the table. The principles of the forehand punch are very similar. Start with your bat up high and punch straight through the ball. Our third option in dealing with that slow spinny loop is to counter top spin the ball. To counter top spin the ball, our starting position is up at a similar height to our block and our punch. Now though, we're going to contact the ball with top spin by brushing over the top of the ball. So our angle needs to be turned forward. So we're spinning over the ball. And the same with the forehand, spinning over the ball. Because our opponent has already given us a lot of topspin, we don't need to lift our stroke at all. Off a block or a backspin ball, we might need to lift our stroke to lift the ball over the net. When our opponent has already put that topspin on for us, we just need to come straight forward. So now we have three options: soft block, punch, and counter top spin. The counter top spin is the most difficult for you to make because you're coming through with a fine angle on your bat. So the contact becomes quite difficult. The other two, the soft block and the punch, are fairly similar in difficulty level.
So out of your three options, the soft block, the punch and the counter spin, you need to decide firstly what's comfortable for you, and secondly what's going to be difficult for me as your opponent. If I'm top spinning the ball and my opponent blocks it softly, it might be difficult for me because I've got to move forward to get to that ball. Similarly, if I'm top spinning from quite close to the table and they punch the ball, it might be too fast for me and I might not be able to get to it. And the third option, if I top spin and they counter spin it, well, that's going to be difficult for anyone because the ball's going to come fast and the top spin's going to kick up and it's going to make it really tough.
To put some side spin on your topspin, the main thing is to use your wrist. If you have your wrist nice and straight, you will get straight topspin on the ball. If, however, you drop your wrist, then you're going to start to curve around the outside of the ball. If you lift your wrist up, you're going to curve on the inside of the ball and get the ball to fade away. The crucial thing with getting some side spin on the ball is to control the end of your racket. If you drop the end of your racket, the ball is going to curve one way. If you lift the end of your racket, it'll curve the other way. So that position there is the crucial factor in the amount of side spin that you're going to get on the ball. So when would you use the side spin, top spin? The main idea is to try and drag your opponent away from the centre of the table. If you're trying to drag them away across there, you would use the hook to curve the ball out wide that way. If you're trying to drag your opponent out that way, you would use the slide or the fade stroke. You're just trying to make sure you're getting your opponent out of position. Another advantage of using some side spin with your topspin is it makes it difficult for the blocker because it's something different. They're very used to the straight topspin coming at them, but when the ball is curving, the ball becomes a little bit harder to block. Of course, there is the disadvantage of trying to use the side spin with your topspin. It becomes a little bit less consistent because you're not getting the pure topspin to dip the ball onto the table. The side spin tends to make the shot a little bit less accurate. Hi, I'm Alois Rosario from Ping Skills. Today, we're going to talk about topspin against topspin. The technique for topspin against topspin is very similar to all our other forehand techniques. You're starting down, finishing up above your eye level. A couple of differences. Firstly, because you tend to be a little bit further back from the table, you can have a longer swing at the ball. The second thing is that because they have already put the topspin on the ball, you don't really need to lift the ball up. It's more a matter of getting the ball forward and generating some topspin on the ball as well. So you can see here Jeff starting a little bit higher and coming more forward with his stroke. The angle of his bat is turned over, again, to try and counteract the topspin that's already on the ball. So tactically, what are you going to try and do when you're doing topspin to topspin? I see lots and lots of people when they're doing topspin to topspin just going flat out, fast, fast. That's not the way to go. The idea is to vary the amount of spin that you're putting on the ball and also the speed. The other important thing is trying to get the ball nice and deep on the other end of the table. By getting the ball deep, you're forcing your opponent away from the table. If you get short and close to the net, they can come in and really attack at you. The other important tactic when you're playing topspin to topspin is to try and change the direction. I see way too many people just enjoying that topspin to topspin and going forehand to forehand. Change it into their backhand corner sometimes. Try and make them play a backhand, which often isn't as strong as their forehand. In the topspin to topspin rally, you're trying to gain advantage by getting closer to the table. As soon as you see that ball drop short near the net, try and force your way in to make the more powerful stroke. If your opponent forces you back away from the table, your shots become a little bit less powerful and you give your opponent just that little bit more time to make their topspin stroke. Try and push in and take the advantage away from your opponent.
Against a defensive chopper, the drop shot can be very effective. The chopper is much happier back away from the table and defending. So if you can play a drop shot, drag them in close to the table, that gives you an opportunity to play a strong ball at them when they're close at the table. To play a drop shot off a chop, it's important to wait for the chop that lands short on your side of the table. It's difficult to do a drop shot if the chop lands deep on your side. Secondly, think about keeping your hand nice and soft and relaxed. Keep your bat nice and open and try and hit the ball as early as possible and as close to the net as you possibly can. To make sure that you get close to the ball, it's important to move your leg in close to the net. Another tactical consideration is to make your drop shot to their weaker attacking side. So often the defender might have a strong backhand attack or a strong forehand attack. So make sure that you make that drop shot to their weaker side. I'm Alois Rosario from Ping Skills. Today we're going to show you how to execute the drop shot. When you've forced your opponent away from the table, the important part with the drop shot is to keep it as close as you can to the net. Even if the ball goes up a little bit higher, get it as close as you can to the net. That makes it a bigger distance for them to travel to get to the ball. So when we're smashing, we're trying to keep the person as far back as we can. To make the drop shot, we look for the short ball and come in close to the net. It's really important to make the drop shot off a ball that's landing short and close to the net. It's really difficult if the ball lands deep in your court. So some things to consider when you're making the drop shot. One is, if you put a little bit of side spin on the ball, it helps to keep the ball short at the other end. The other important part is to keep your hand nice and soft and relaxed. If your hand is tight, the ball will bounce off a little bit further. So by keeping the hand soft, you're going to absorb some of the speed and be able to keep the ball close to the net. Your footwork's important for the drop shot off a lob. When you're smashing, you're quite side on to the table and further away from the table to make your smash. As soon as you see the ball dropping short and ready for a drop shot, you need to make sure you move in and close to the net.